Okay, good morning, everyone. We're officially on the record. We are live streaming. This is our first preliminary hearing for October the 7th, 2022. I'm officially calling case number, the state of Georgia versus Janisha Dominique Dukes. Case number 2022 WA 15343 for the charge of battery. Second charge, warrant number 2022 WA 15346 for the charge of robbery. So we have two charges. The state is represented by ADA Cheryl Freeman, and the defendant is present. The defendant will be represented by attorney Rogers. The state is ready to proceed, correct?
That's correct, Judge.
Okay.
Thank you. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to provide in the matter of state of Georgia versus Janisha Dukes will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please tell us your name and how you're employed.
Officer Sharia Bailey. I work for the Forest Park Police Department.
How long have you worked with the Forest Park Police Department?
Since November of last year.
When you say last year, that would be 2021?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working with the Forest Park Police Department on October 3rd of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
On that particular day, were you dispatched to 5418 Old Dixie Road at Forest Park, Georgia?
Yes.
Why were you dispatched to that location?
The call initially went out as a fight initially. And then once we got there, we realized that it was actually a robbery.
What exactly is at this address?
It's a thrift store.
When you got to the location, who did you speak to?
I spoke to Miss Janisha Dukes, Miss what's her name? Miss Rosa Ocha. I spoke to her and several bystanders.
Is Miss Rosa Ocha, was she the store clerk at the thrift store?
Yes.
What did Miss Rosa Ocha tell you what happened?
She said that Janisha came into the store and snatched the money from out behind the register and tried to run out the store. She tried to stop her, and Janisha started hitting her and trying to get away with the money, but she held on to her because she was trying to take the money from her.
Did Miss Ocho have any visible injuries to her person?
Yes.
Did you see those injuries?
Yes.
Please tell us what injuries you saw.
She had a bite on her, I want to say right hand, a bite mark, and she had swelling to the right side of her face.
Did Miss Ocho state that the bite mark and the bruises were a result of Miss Dukes?
Yes.
Did you have to call for any medical personnel?
Yes.
You stated that you spoke to some bystanders. Were these people inside of the thrift store?
No, ma'am, they were outside.
So did this incident take inside of the thrift store or outside?
It started on the inside, and then when they started fighting, I guess Dukes tried to run away, and they ended up outside, and that's when the bystanders saw the tussle between the two.
Did Ms. Dukes, was she able to leave the thrift store with the cash that she took from the register?
Yes, but Miss Rosa was holding on to her, so she didn't really get away. So Miss Rosa was trying to, keep her there from leaving.
Were you able to get statements from the bystanders?
Yes.
What did the bystanders state that they witnessed?
Both the guys said that they saw the two fighting. They said they saw Janisha striking the lady several times, and the lady was just holding on. Miss Rosa was just holding on to her. And the guy said that they ended up going to the middle of the street. And then they came back, and that's what he said. Janisha was beating the lady so bad that he just got in and grabbed Miss Rosa to keep Janisha from hitting her. He held onto her and called 911.
Was there any video surveillance to show this incident?
Yes.
Has that been placed into evidence?
Yes.
Did all of this take place in Clayton County?
Yes.
Officer Bailey, I believe you stated earlier you were able to speak to Ms. Dukes. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What did Ms. Dukes state to you?
Ms. Dukes said that, what did she say? She said that she was lying and that was her money, and she didn't take any money, but when I got there, she had the money balled up in her hand tight. And the lady, Ms. Rosa, was saying like, hey, that's the money she stole, that's the money she took. But Janisha was basically denying everything, saying it was her money and she didn't take anything, and she don't know why the lady was trying to fight her, pretty much.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay, Attorney Rogers, your witness.
Yep, thank you. This officer, is it Bailey?
Yes.
Okay. Officer, are you the lead officer on the case?
Yes.
And so you've had a chance to review any kind of witness statements, videos, things of that nature?
Yes.
And so when the incident starts, I guess, have you seen the video of the incident?
Yes.
And what approximately before it becomes physical, is there any sort of conversation, like what happens before it becomes physical?
Inside of the store, you can see Janisha at the countertop, and she asks, from my understanding, she asked for $1. Miss Rosa gave her $1, and then she tried to snatch the billfold at that time, but Miss Rosa was able to hold on to it. And then you can see them talking back and forth, and then Janisha walks around the counter and reaches for and grabs the billfold, and from behind the counter, because at that time Miss Rosa had came from behind the counter, and Janisha pretty much brushed past her, grabbed the billfold, and tried to leave out the store. But Miss Rosa grabbed onto her, pretty much, telling her to put the money back. There's no audio, so I don't know what she was saying, but you can see Janisha grab the money, and Miss Rosa grab onto her. And that's when I could see Janisha striking her, and then they end up outside of the store.
Okay. Let me ask you about something in your report, and I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. It says Janisha entered the store and asked Rosa for a bag to put her clothes in.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a thrift store, so I guess what I'm asking is there some sort of relationship to the thrift store regarding the clothes, as you understand it?
I have no idea. The thrift store has clothing in there. So I'm guessing I don't there's no audio on the video, so I really can't say what she said. I just see from what Janisha said, she said she asked her for $1. And on the video you can see Miss Rosa giving her $1. And if I look back, yeah, she when she walked into the store, she had a handful of clothes, and she gave her a bag, but then I guess she asked her for $1 or something. And she gave her $1, and then she tried to snatch the rest of the money in her hand, and Miss Rosa snatched her hand back, like, no,
Okay. And let me ask this, to your knowledge, do they know each other already before this incident?
I have no idea.
And so then, when you speak to, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said you spoke to Ms. Dukes and Ms. Ochoa, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you spoke to Ms. Dukes, did she ever mention anything about trying to either return clothes or anything along those lines?
think I'm not sure, but I think she said I had my body camera on, but
I'm sorry. This is I hate to interrupt, but Deputy, can you control the inmate? The inmate is moving around and laughing. Yes. If you could just, Ms. Dukes, if you could just remain silent. Okay. Thank you.
Can also
Sorry.
proceed, yeah.
Yes. You can proceed, Officer Bailey.
oh, there's no audio, so I think Miss Janisha said something about she was trying to bring some clothes back or needing something for her clothes, and then she said something about the clothes weren't right, and she didn't feel like the clothes weren't right, and she was kind of just, I was listening to what she was saying, but yeah, it was something about returning clothes, and then she needed a bag for her clothes, and then she wanted $1, and she just went,
But you say all of this is on the video, on your body cam?
It's all on my body cam, and the store also has video footage inside the store and outside the store.
And just so I'm clear, the people that you listed, that you mentioned as witnesses a second ago, like the bystanders, they're not saying that they know how it started. Is that correct?
Right. They just saw the fight on the outside.
And from speaking, and I don't know, and it's really just a real question. From speaking to Ms. Dukes, did you notice that maybe she's seen either developmentally or mentally, I guess, dealing with issues of any sort?
Yes, I've encountered Miss Dukes. I used to work in the jail at Clayton County, so I actually knew who she was when I seen her, and I was able to talk to her and try to understand what she was saying. But she is a little mental.
No further questions at this time. Thank
you. Ms. Freeman, redirect.
No additional questions, Your Honor. The state rests.
Okay, I did have one question, Officer Bailey. Did you recover the money back from the defendant? If so, how much?
I got the money back. It was bought over her hand. I didn't physically count it myself. I just handed it back to the lady. She said, "Oh, the money's her hand. The money's her hand." So I grabbed it out of her hand and gave it back to the lady. So I didn't physically count it myself. But the lady said it was probably, she guessed like $300.
Okay, so it was more than $1.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, no further questions. Are there any follow-up questions to my questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Attorney Rogers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, at this time, we're ready for closing.
The state waives opening.
Okay.
And at this point, John, I will submit on the testimony.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Based upon, go ahead, Ms. Freeman.
I was going to ask if Officer Bailey could be excused. I know she's on the road now.
Yes. Well, let me just, for the record, state that based upon the evidence that this will be bound over to Superior Court, just for the record.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Officer Bailey.
Thank you.
And we're ready to move forward with second case on the calendar, Monroe.
Yes, Judge. Detective Moore, you can turn your video on and mute yourself.
Okay, we are still live streaming. I'm going to officially call the state of Georgia versus Finesse Ali Monroe for the first charge of murder, warrant number 2022 CW 454448. The second charge will be for aggravated assault, warrant number 2022 CW 54449. The third charge of armed robbery, warrant number 2022 CW 54450. And then the last charge, possession of a firearm doing a crime, warrant number 2022 CW 54451. At the time, the jail does have present defendant Finesse Monroe, who's represented by attorney Kirby Clemens. And then the state will be represented by ADA Cheryl Freeman. Ms. Freeman, you're free to call your first witness.
Thank you,
Excuse me, Your Honor, before you begin, may the may the public defender's office be excused.
Yes.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm assuming, is that it? Okay, yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Detective Moore, would you raise your right hand? Thank you. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony about to provide in the matter of state of Georgia versus Finesse Monroe will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? I can't hear you. Say it one more time, we can't hear you.
Still muted.
No, I think it's just her headphones, because she's not muted.
Okay.
We still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Please tell us your name and how you're employed.
I'm Detective Tracy Moore. I'm with the Clayton County Police Department. I work in Criminal Investigations Division. I've been with the department for 8 years. I have been in CID for, it'll be 5 years next month, and I am Georgia Post certified.
Okay. Oh, and also, I don't think we heard you after I swore you in to say I do. We couldn't hear you. So just for the record, let me do it again. Do you swear to affirm that the testimony you're about to provide in the matter of state of Georgia versus Finesse Monroe will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Detective, since you've been working with the Clayton County Police Department, were you assigned a case involving this defendant, Finesse Monroe?
Yes, ma'am.
And this case involved, I want to say, an incident that occurred on September 4th of 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
Please tell us from your investigation, what did you learn that happened on September 4th of 2022?
I responded to 5780 Grande River Road in College Park, that's located in Clayton County, in reference to a person shot during a home invasion robbery. When I got there, the victim, the deceased, he was taken to the hospital. He was not there when I arrived. His name is Christopher Tharp. I learned he lives there at the location with his living girlfriend, Brandy Alberto. And he had, his Christopher Tharp Jr. was there, but he does not reside there. There is a child that resides there. That child was not at the home at that time, but Brandy and Christopher do have children together, or one on the way and one that's here. So, but they were not there at the time. So what she advised is that two males came, well, let me back up. So Mr. Tharp had gone to Walmart to get some things. Her parents or her family was supposed to be coming visiting that afternoon. She asked for specific items from Walmart. When he arrived back, Christopher Jr. came in the house. Christopher Tharp stayed outside to smoke a cigarette. She advised while she was cleaning up the house, she heard some pops outside, some noises, and two males ran into the house. They were, and I was able to view this on video later. They were, they had on it looked like joggers or sweats, hoodies, masks, gloves, and they both had firearms. I was able to see the video where Mr. Tharp was standing in front of his vehicle smoking a cigarette when I'm assuming the noise from their running across the street got his attention, but he turned to look back, saw the two males running at him, and he ran for his door. You can see the males shoot a couple of times the firearms in the direction of Mr. Tharp. The two males ran in. They demanded money from Brandy. She didn't at that time know that Tharp was laying outside and had been hit. She said she doesn't have any money. They kept asking her where the money is. She finally took them upstairs where they took some very expensive jewelry that belonged to Mr. Tharp. Two necklaces that were about $9,000 each. They were white gold and diamonds. a pendant that said Wizard that was about $5,000, a Rolex watch that was diamond and white gold, and also they took a diamond earring that was diamond and white gold as well. After they took those items, they left the location, but on the way out the door, you can see in the video, they stop and they go through the pockets of Mr. Tharp while he's laying either in very bad condition or deceased in the doorway.
Detective, from watching this video, after the males go through the pockets of Mr. Tharp, how did they leave the location?
They left on foot, but you can see they ran across from behind another house across the street. So I don't, you can't tell if they left actually on foot or in a car. They ran from the location on foot though.
Was Miss Alberto able to identify either of the individuals?
She wasn't. She thought that one may be someone. She provided me an Instagram name. I did finally ID that person and was not able to connect them to this crime.
Detective, how were you able to connect Mr. Finesse Monroe to this crime?
So we did a canvas of the neighborhood. We knocked on all the doors that had video. There's a lot of video cameras in that neighborhood. And then we also sent out a ring request to the neighborhood through the neighborhood app. And we did obtain video anonymously. And it was like a burgundy colored Ford Mustang. It was pretty distinct. It had very dark tinted windows. It had black rims. It was like, I guess you call it blackout version. And the emblem on the back was missing. And the little behind the driver and the passenger window, there's a little triangle windows. You could see something written. It looked like it was yellow. You could see something written on that window. So I was able to use the flock camera system and I was able to locate that vehicle. When I ran that vehicle on GCIC, it comes back to Mr. Monroe with an address of 127 Samantha's Way in McDonough.
After you got that information, Detective, were you able to interview Ms. Monroe or follow up with that information?
I did interview Mr. Monroe after we obtained warrants, and we did search his residence prior to me questioning him. When I questioned him, he advised that he first said that he wasn't there. He gave me a long story, but what it boiled down to is he said that he and a guy named Red and a guy named TJ went out to break into cars. He said that he got scared and Red and TJ dropped him back off at his brother's apartment in Forest Park. Then he said that TJ borrowed so they took his car and left him in his brother's apartment, and he loaned them his phone and his boots as well. And he was thinking they're going to go break into cars. He didn't know anything about a murder, but he gave me a timeline, and with the phone records, it's just not matching up to what he said.
Detective, when you say the phone records, could you please explain to us what records you were able to obtain?
Yes, ma'am. I did obtain the phone records from his phone number. Let me find it for you. I'm just looking at my PC real quick. So Mr. Monroe's phone number is 470-661-1485. And I was able to get those phone records under a search warrant. And when we reviewed the phone records, and they were also placed in Cell Hawk as well, the records showed him to be, during the interview, he also stated that he didn't know anything about 314 or that area. He did say that he knows where North Clayton High School is, but he didn't indicate he had any reason to be over there. He stated that, I'm sorry. So he stated he didn't know anybody over there except an Auntie Heidi, and he couldn't say where that was at. So he wasn't real familiar with that area. So he indicated he would have no reason to be over there. And he did indicate that he was elsewhere during this, but he did indicate, he did try to implicate himself in another crime during that. But the phone records show that he was there, that his device was there at approximately, I'm not looking at it, but it was approximately 4 something in the morning for a few minutes, and then it was back over there by 11:12. And then it was, it stayed there for a while and it left and then it came back and it stayed there. And then shortly after after the incident, after Mr. Tharp was shot, then it showed that that device did leave the area.
Detective, the individuals Mr. Monroe gave you, where he indicated that he gave somebody his phone, were you able to speak to any of those individuals?
I was not, he was not able to give me any identifying information about who that he indicated that Red's phone number should be in his phone. We are waiting. I'm waiting for the phone, a phone rip to be done on that phone. But I have not gotten that back yet. But he indicated he only knows them by Red and TJ. He does not know their real names. He could not even really tell me where they live at. He just said he knew them from around Atlanta, like the Clark, Atlanta area.
Detective, were you able to review any social media of Mr. Monroe regarding this incident?
I did. And on the evening, on 9/3, the evening prior to the incident, he wrote a post that stated, I can quote it if they shoot dice. We gamble in our life. That ain't the same shit. And the relevance is that Mr. Tharp does, they did go to the gambling house the night before and he does, that's what they do there is roll dice.
Were you able to recover any of the items that were taken from Mr. Tharp's residence?
I have not yet.
Have you located the weapon that was used to shoot Mr. Tharp?
No, ma'am, we did not locate a weapon. I did locate during the search warrant a ski mask, many magazines and assorted bullets, but that's in the cell phones, and that was about it but there was a ski mask that did match or appear. I mean, they're kind of generic, but there was a black ski mask that would fit what one of the persons was wearing in the video.
Did all this happen in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
Thank you. No further questions.
Attorney Clemens, your witness.
Yes, thank you. Detective, did anyone identify Finesse Monroe as being at the scene?
You mean by like viewing him? Like,
Yes.
No, sir. No, sir.
Did you do a lineup?
No, the person was, both individuals were wearing masks on their faces. You could only see a little bit around their eyes. So no, I did not do a lineup.
All right. Did anyone give a description of Finesse that would match Finesse Monroe?
Miss Brandy Alberto did give a description of the males, but they kind of do physically characteristics. They pretty much do match, but I mean, she wasn't able to see hair or anything like that. But the person that she thought it could be, the height and weight is very similar between actually the two people that did this and the person that she thought it could be that did this.
I don't think I understood what you said. So meaning the person that she thought could be this matches physically the description of the two people that were in the video.
Correct. Which also match the persons who did this, they have the same physical characteristics, which the height and weight is what I'm referring to. And they would, because you couldn't see hair and all that kind of stuff. So that would be also consistent with Mr. Monroe as well.
All right. And what was that height and weight?
I can go back to that and give it to you, but I believe she said it was, they were both thin build and not extremely tall. I want to say it was like 5'9", but I can go back and find that for you if you would like.
Yes.
And she advised they were young, probably in their early 20s. She said one guy was, I think I missed something. I know she said one of the persons was 5'6" to 5'7", skinny and slim. And the other person, I don't see where I wrote down a height, but I know I believe she said it was 5'9", and they were both of slim build.
Did she say that they had on ski mask? I take it.
Yes, and she's the one that gave me the video from their residence, so I was able to. So you were able to view what the people look like.
And just out of curiosity, on the ski mask, I mean, did it look like the person had like dreads or something underneath it, like Mr. Monroe appears to have?
They had, like, you could tell, at least, I want to say, I'm not looking at the video. One, you could definitely tell that there was some kind of hair going under there. I believe both of them looked like that did not lay flat, but I'm not 100% on that. I would have to go back and look at that video, sir.
Okay.
But one of them, you could definitely tell that it was some kind of hair or something going under that ski mask.
Gotcha. Hold on for a second. With respect to the vehicle that you said came back to Mr. Monroe, the burgundy Mustang.
Yes, sir.
That is captured on video in the neighborhood at what time?
I believe it was sometime afternoon, but the person who reported it said it was there and hanging out and just like watching. It was a few doors down from where Mr. Tharp lives on the other side of the road. It was on and running, and they indicated it was there about 11 something when they left, and then it got captured on the ring about 12 something.
Okay, so the last time that car is caught on video is around a little bit after noon.
Yeah, I think I can't remember. It seems like it was like 12:12, but I'm not 100%. It might have been 12:20, something like that.
All right, in the noon hour, we'll say.
Yes, sir.
And what time did this incident happen?
At 2:44 p.m.
2:44 p.m.
Yes, sir.
And so that vehicle is not. You can't account for that vehicle's location at the time.
I can't. It was not picked up on a flock, and it was not picked up on any other ring video or anything. It just that when the rings, like most people's houses, when they have the video, it's not constant. It's just like when there's motion. So that was the only time it was picked up that I was able to view it.
Okay.
Or that's the only person we made contact that actually came forward, or I can say that.
And how close to where this happened was that captured?
The person wanted to be named remain anonymous, but it was nearby. From what they indicated, they could see where it was parked down the street, and that would be somewhere near the incident location.
Right. Well, I wouldn't ask you to give me the address. I was just more so saying, was it within a quarter mile, half mile, 2 miles?
So it would be less than that. You'd be able to see the vehicle in the street. And this is a neighborhood. It's like a when you go into the neighborhood, the street goes straight down, or kind of turns a couple times, but it's just going straight down, and then it loops around back into itself. So it could not be that long of a distance.
All right. Any description of people getting in and out of that vehicle?
No, I did not have a description of that.
All right. And no video capturing anyone getting in and out of the vehicle?
No, sir.
Okay. And hold on. Did I understand you to say that they went into the house, the perpetrators?
Yes.
All right. Did they have gloves on or no?
They both had on gloves. One of them had on like surgical type gloves, and the other one had on maybe work gloves, something else, thicker gloves.
Was there any forensic evidence, if you will, from the perpetrators in the house, whether it's footprint, handprint, whatever?
No, there wasn't, because they were wearing gloves, sir.
Okay. And no footprints were recovered in there?
I don't believe so. No, sir.
Okay. And I thought that you said that the car that did this, I'm sorry, hold on. That the vehicle left and then came back to the area.
No, sir. I'm saying the cell phone evidence showed that device left and came back several times.
Okay. And when you
not the vehicle.
Okay, just the cell phone.
Yes, sir.
And where did the cell phone, where did it go?
I don't know. I mean, I have the records, I could tell you, but I don't remember where it went particularly.
Well, not necessarily a specific address. I guess, did it go away like 5 miles away, 10 miles away, or did it just stay pretty much in that area.
I would have to review those records. That would be very time consuming, and I could tell you that, but I don't know right now
You don't know.
offhand.
When you spoke to Mr. Monroe, he told you that he was in that area with those two individuals, TJ and Red.
He didn't initially. He told me he said that he gave me a long story, which was that he gave me a long timeline, and during that 3 and 4 o'clock hour in the morning AM, I believe he said he was at his girlfriend's house in Stockbridge laying down with her. Initially, his night began at Clark Atlanta at some party where he did meet up with TJ and Red. They went different ways. Then Red hit him up and he went and picked Red up in Atlanta. And this is from memory, so I could have it a little bit off. But he went and picked up Red in Atlanta. And then TJ, they went to somewhere in Union City and picked up TJ. And then TJ knew where to go break into cars. And he wasn't really even sure where they were breaking into cars. He got nervous. So they took him to Forest Park to his brother's location. And he indicated around the, I want to say it was about 10 or 11 a.m. when they dropped him off in Forest Park and at his brother's house. And then he didn't get the vehicle back until I believe he said about 8 p.m. somewhere in that area. And I'm not looking directly at what he said, but that's just what I remember is. So basically he was not with his car, his phone, or his boots all day is what he's saying.
All right. And I guess the question I was asking you earlier about the cell phone location is, while you may not be able to tell me everywhere it went, did the cell phone records that you found reflect that his cell phone went to or in the area of his brother's house where he told you he had gone?
It went to a lot of different places, sir. I can't recall from memory. I could sit here and break down the report, but I would have to type in each individual GPS coordinate to tell you. So that would be very time consuming.
Right.
We have a program called Cellhawk that would be able to much better tell us. But again, I don't have that up and open.
Understood. But I mean, just from memory right now, as you sit here, you just know that he left the area, but you can't tell us everywhere he went. Or the phone left the area.
The phone did leave the area. I do remember, I believe it went to somewhere in Ellenwood, and then I can't remember. I think I don't know, sir. I don't want to testify to something I'm not sure of.
That's fine. All right. Just a second. Was the tag picked up on tag readers anywhere else around the area? Did you mention that earlier?
No, the only time I saw the tag on that day until later that day when so from memory again, the tag reader picked it up on Anvil Block Road near the Walmart. It would be coming into the county. So it'd be a little bit back from the Walmart where the flock camera is. And then it got picked up, I believe, 2 times in Henry County later that evening. And that would be, he does live in McDonough, so it would kind of be in that area. I would assume that would be when he was taking the vehicle home.
Okay. And when you ran when you were looking for at the tag reader database, I mean, you looked at, you searched it specifically for that tag number, just anywhere in the metro area?
Once I got it. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it only hit flock 3 times, but there's not tag readers everywhere. So that would not be strange either way. So it would be, there's only so many tag readers, and if there's not one in an area, then there's just not one in an area. So it wouldn't pick up whether it was there or not. So
understood. And were any of those locations that it was picked up close to any of the places that he said he had gone to after he left TJ and Red's company?
Well, he indicated they took his car. So
okay.
So that wouldn't, if he were telling the truth, then that wouldn't matter. If you go, but no, the flock that I picked up on that day was prior to, and the 2 were after. So the 2 in Henry County were much later.
All right. And so there was no voice identification either, correct? By the young lady? You didn't do any kind of, like, I recognize the voice of someone.
No, sir. She didn't tell me anything like that.
All right. So car is seen at 11:01, and then comes back at around 12:30ish. The shooting happens at around 2:40, or you get a phone call, I think, at 2:44.
The call went out at the 911 call. That's when the incident happened, was at 2:44. I don't know what time exactly I responded out there, but it would have been probably 3:30 or something like that.
Understand. Just a second. Almost done. When you look at the phone records, did you recover Mr. Monroe's phone?
I recovered 3 cell phones. The 2 definitely belong to him. The other one I believe belongs to him during the search warrant. I am working to, I've already got warrants to get them digitally, forensically downloaded. I have not got that back yet. I'm waiting for that to come back.
Okay, so right now you don't have any information, anything from Mr. Monroe on any type of device showing a participation, like, hey, we robbed those people or anything. You have nothing like that right now.
No, not now. No, sir.
And when you went to Mr. Monroe's home, you conducted a search warrant, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you recover the vehicle from that location?
No, the vehicle, he indicated during the interview that the vehicle was with his brother, Sincere, that he had gotten. So when we got there, there was his mother's vehicle was there, and there was a black Ford Mustang there. The black Ford Mustang comes back to a young lady, I believe, but he indicated that he was paying payments on that Mustang, but it wasn't in his name. So he was just paying payments on that Mustang to pay it out. And then I guess, I don't know if they were going to transfer that. We didn't get into that, but I don't know if he's renting it from someone or trying to purchase it, but I was under the impression he was trying to purchase it.
Did you recover anything from his home that was linked to the crime, whether it be same firearms, anything?
The only thing that I could, again, the ski mask, but I can't say that it's that ski mask because they're pretty generic. It's a black ski mask with the eyes, pretty much you could just see the tip of the bridge of the nose and the eyes cut out. So that's the only thing that I could see that there were black clothing there, but there was nothing so specific about those clothings that I could say that was that clothing.
All
so
right.
I didn't recover any of that.
All right. And you didn't recover any items stolen at his home either?
I did not.
All right. And did you recover any ammunition or anything that you could link to the shooting, that this is the same manufacturer of bullets or projectile, I should say?
I didn't check that, sir. I'm not sure, but I did locate several different types of bullets, and so I can't say that they're the same manufacturer or anything like that.
Did the young lady indicate what type of gun that they had?
You can see it on the video. So there was one, you couldn't see it well enough to know what it is. She just knew it was a gun. One of the guns was appeared to be gold or tan and black, and the other one was all black. And Monroe did advise that he had a Glock that is gold and black. So I'm not sure, but we didn't locate the firearm.
Okay. You said earlier that there was a statement that was made on his Instagram that they shoot dice, but we out here risking our lives.
Something like that. Yes, sir.
And you said that was important because the decedent had been shooting dice the night before?
Correct.
And was there any indication that Mr. Monroe was there where he was shooting dice the night before?
Not to my knowledge, no, sir.
Did Mr. Monroe state to you that he had been there shooting dice or been
No,
there?
he advised that he was at a party near Clark, Atlanta somewhere.
Did he indicate that he even knew these people that were there?
No, I did ask him that, and he said he indicated he does not. And I did look at his phone records, and I checked to see if any of their phone numbers were there, and there was not any phone numbers there.
Okay. All right, hold on. I think I'm just about done. Was there audio to these videos so that you could hear voices on there, or no? At the video where the crime happened, where the shooting actually happened.
I do believe it picked up sound.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe it did.
All right. So then, I just want to make sure I understand it then. So Mr. Monroe was seen in the area earlier that day, or his cell phone is in the area, and the tag readers caught his vehicle in that area. They then leave. The phone then leaves the area for a while.
Correct.
Back around 12:30 or so. And then,
so the phone was there about 4-something a.m. for a little while, not long. Then the phone comes back at 11-something. And again, I'm not looking at these records right now, but this is just off the top of my head. 11-something, and it's there till 12-something, and then it leaves again, and then it comes back, and it is there until the homicide happens. And shortly after the homicide, it is leaving the area again.
Understood. Understood.
And the so we have what's called NELOS or true call data. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So there, it's just, I'm not talking about a tower that it's just hitting off a tower. I'm talking about that phone company believes they give their best estimate of where that phone was at. And that phone, the best estimate at the time of the homicide, when I plugged in the little numbers, it was right on top of Mr. Tharp's house.
Okay.
So whoever had that phone definitely was at Mr. Tharp's house.
I understood that. And that's why I was asking you earlier, and I just maybe you can clarify for me now. When Mr. Monroe told you that he left and went to another location, that TJ and Red dropped him off, does that data that you just referred to place that phone at that same location that he said?
I would have to check. So that's so it pings a phone every about 30 seconds. Some companies are 15, some are 30. So that is just an astronomical amount of data. So okay. I would have to go through the whole thing line by line by line, which it could happen, but it's just not something that I've done at this point.
All right. But there was no social media posts from Mr. Monroe after the fact claiming credit for taking anything or for flashing any ill-gotten gains from that you can link to the crime?
No. So I did learn later that he told me his one Instagram address. I found another one. And then when I got the records back from the one he told me, I was able to locate a third Instagram. And I'm waiting for those records to come back, but that seems to be the main Instagram. Listening to his jail calls, he was telling his sister to take care of his Instagram. You know what I mean? He kept saying things like that. I don't think he was trying to talk in code. I can't prove that, but that's what I would believe. But he kept telling his sister to take care of his Instagram and saying like, you know what I mean? And then he was telling her to put up certain pictures and this kind of thing. So that Instagram, when you look at it, he has the same, I believe he has the same picture on both Instagrams, the other Instagrams as the little, the little circle, like your little picture. That picture was gray. So I don't know if he just does that all the time or if it was recently. And I'm concerned that they may have deleted stuff before I was able to get it, but I did preserve it and I've already gotten a warrant for it. So I'm waiting for that to come back as well.
All right. But no jailhouse confessions on phone?
No. He's talking to his mom and a couple of people and he's denying that he did this.
Okay. All right. I think that may be all I have. Just 1 second. Description. Car. Phone. Oh, the name of the person that the young lady said she thought it was. Did you rule that person out, or is it just a matter of you can't confirm that he was there? Is what I'm getting at.
I don't believe it was him, but I'm not completely ruled him out. I did get his phone records and his Instagram records as well, and I don't believe it's him, but I can't say 100% sure that he was not, because that person did know Mr. Tharp, and he was seemed genuinely, when I was going through his Instagram records, he was talking, I guess, to a girlfriend, and he was very he put a lot of posts up, how people do after people pass, the rest in peace and blah and all this stuff. But he did he was talking to a young lady that appeared to be his girlfriend, and he seemed legitimately crushed by the fact that his friend was deceased.
All right. And then so the bottom line is the information that you have that puts Finesse Monroe at the scene is the tag reader catching the vehicle over there around that time, and the cell phone data that shows that at one point at the time of the homicide, his cell phone was at that particular location.
His cell phone was definitely at that location. It's not a tag reader, sir. It's a video from somebody's like Ring or one of those cameras on somebody's house is what it was. So it's not a tag reader. I did have it on a tag reader that day, I believe 3 times, but it was not at that location. Where I got it, that image of the vehicle was from somebody's like front door camera or something.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood it. So, and the door camera is the one that places the car
in that neighborhood. Yeah, right near there. Yes,
at the time of the crime.
Correct.
Got you.
No, not at the time of the crime. This is prior to the crime. So the person who sent us that video, who again is anonymous, they didn't tell us, how to contact them or anything, but it's the video of the vehicle, and it is before the crime. But the young lady who sent the video said that same vehicle was there when I think she left for church or whatever, about 11:30, something like that. Car was there, and she thought it was suspicious. And then when we asked for all the videos, then she sent the videos in.
Okay, so the only thing that you have that places that is connected to Miss Monroe at the time of the crime is the cell phone information that places his cell phone at the decedent's home at the time of the homicide.
Correct.
And Mr. Monroe told you at the time that he was not there. He had loaned his phone. He'd given his phone to the TJ, either TJ or Red.
He said he gave his phone and boots to TJ and the vehicle. They took the vehicle.
And did any of the cell phone video show any video that you have of the vehicle? Were you able to ascertain whether it was just 2 occupants, 3 occupants, or nothing could tell you?
And it's the windows are too tinted. You can't tell anything of like that.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions that I have.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any redirect? ADA Freeman?
No, Your Honor, the state rests.
Okay. I do have a few questions for the detective. So according to the warrant, the victim's girlfriend, Brandy Alberto, identified an individual by the name of Malik McBride as a
So
possible suspect. Is that correct?
That is the person that it took me a while to ID that person. She did not know his name. She gave me an Instagram. Correct. But that is, she believed that could be who it was, but you could only see the individual's eyes and nose. So again, when I looked through his Instagram records, he was really broken up about his friend being deceased. He had posted a lot of things and he was in a private conversation with what was apparently his girlfriend. He was talking about how upset he was and how it's like crushing him and everything like that. So I haven't completely ruled him out, but I don't have any indication that Monroe and McBride have anything to do with each other.
Were you able to obtain cell phone data from the phone number, I guess, for Mr. McBride? Yes.
I did do a search warrant and they say that when the search warrant came back from the phone company, it said that I don't remember the exact verbiage, but anyway, that number is not supported by in other words, that phone's turned off.
Okay.
It's not currently being used.
You also testified that the defendant had indicated that the night before the incident, which would have been September the 3rd of 2022, he was not at, I guess, this party where they gamble. He was at an address near CAU, near Clark Atlanta University.
That's what Monroe indicated, correct.
Did he give you a specific address?
No, he did not.
Okay. Did he identify any witnesses who could identify him at this?
He said he was there with Red and TJ. He could not tell me Red and TJ's name or how to get a hold of them. He did say Red's phone number may be in his cell phone, which I have not gotten the cell phone. I'm waiting for the records to come back from, not the phone records, the actual digital data from the phone reps. So I have not had that yet to go through yet.
Okay. Now he also, according to your testimony, allegedly told you that he loaned his cell phone that that seemed to be at the location to Red and TJ. Is that correct?
He advised he loaned him his car, his phone, and his boots.
Did
he identified the boots in the video as his, but he said he loaned those to TJ as well.
Did he tell you why he would do that?
He just said because he knows them and he doesn't really know these people. He's like, I just kind of know him from the street. He just hangs out with them from time to time. Apparently he was going to go burglarize cars with him from what he said, but no, he couldn't. He said, because Red has a phone. So I don't understand what the point would be of loaning the phone out, because Red has a phone. So if they needed a phone, they would have had a phone. I'm not sure what the point of loaning the boots or the car would have been. He said they called him a VITCH and took him to where his brother lived, which it just doesn't make sense.
Did he indicate to you how long he had known either Red or TJ?
I believe he said he just met TJ, and Red he has known for a couple of months.
Okay. And I just have one last question. According to the warrant, the Ford Mustang with the door tinted window was registered to the defendant Monroe. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Okay, but you said he doesn't own the vehicle to your knowledge?
No. So there's the red Mustang, the burgundy Mustang is owned by Mr. Monroe. He indicated that he loaned it to his brother to drive because he is purchasing the black Mustang that we located at the address in Henry County.
Okay, but the the Mustang involved in the incident appears it's a burgundy.
That's the,
Burgundy.
yes,
Okay.
it was his. And he said that he had just gotten the black one a few weeks ago, and that he, when I was trying to figure out when he gave it his brother, couldn't give me exact, but it sounds like he would have still, it's from what he said. I asked him, because he was able to give, this is September 30th, and we're talking about something that happened on 9/4, and he was able to give such a specific timeline that I know I would not have been able to give as unless there was something specific like somebody's birthday or something like that. But he gave such a specific timeline. But when I asked him on that day, was he still having that red Mustang? I believe he did respond that he did.
Okay. And then did he ever provide you with an alibi for, I guess, when the alleged incident occurred, I guess on or about September 4th, 2022 at, I guess it's 2:44 p.m. around that time?
He was just walking around the neighborhood where his brother lives in Forest Park.
Okay, and did you have the opportunity to speak with his brother to confirm that?
I have not spoken to the brother as this time.
Okay, and why not?
I just haven't made contact with the brother yet. I don't have he couldn't give me his brother's phone number, so I have not been able to make contact with the brother at this time.
Okay, no further questions. 8A Freeman, do you have any questions in response to my questions?
No, Your Honor. State rest.
Okay, Attorney Clemens, any in response to my question?
Yes, I'm sorry. The court asked you just a little while ago with respect to him identifying his clothing or his boots at the time. You said, and then you also mentioned that they called him a BITCH, TJ in red. Explain that to me. when did they call him that?
When he decided he didn't want to break into cars with them, is what he said, that they called him BITCH and took him to his brother's house to drop him off.
All right. And that's when he loaned him his car, his cell phone, and his boots. All right. Did he indicate to you that he just gave him that because since he was chickening out?
He didn't. I mean, I guess they needed a way to travel. They were all in his car together, but he couldn't really give me a reason, but other than they asked him for the phone and the boots, and he gave them to him.
Okay. And you say you have not spoken. He definitely said it was his brother, or did he say it was a relative?
I believe it was his brother, because it was his brother. He said, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could not be, people say brother and that's not really a brother, but somebody you're real close to, but he said brother.
All right.
Yeah. And he indicated that the brother had the same last name of him. So yeah.
Okay.
Should be his brother.
Understood. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Defense has we have no witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Okay, we're ready for closings.
The state waives opening.
Okay, Attorney Clemens.
Your Honor, I would just say in this particular case, from what I've gleaned from the detective's testimony, there is, I don't think, sufficient probable cause for this case to proceed. What we have is, first of all, no one saw Mr. Monroe at the area. No one places him there. We have his admission to being there earlier to try to break into some cars. But this was not a car break-in where someone got shot, because that would have certainly been very inculpatory, but that's not the facts of this case. This is a home invasion robbery. In addition, Mr. Monroe, the evidence that he told the detective was that he left, but he was with these two individuals. All we have, and even his vehicle being placed near the time of the crime, it's not really there. It's not at the scene of the house. No one sees anyone getting into the car, but we have his cell phone there, which he indicated he had loaned to one of the two gentlemen who had the phone at the time. They searched his home. They found nothing linking it, nothing from the crime scene linking Mr. Monroe to this crime. From what I gathered, there was a lot of expensive stuff stolen. I mean, I think I heard 2 Rolex watches. It was a lot of very valuable things stolen. They didn't recover anything in Mr. Monroe's house. They didn't recover any ballistic evidence from what I gathered from the testimony that links him to the crime. They didn't recover a firearm, clothing, boots, nothing. They recovered a generic black ski mask, which still not sufficient. So I would just suggest to the court that at this stage of the game, the state truly lacks probable cause, because there's no ID. I mean, it's not even a great circumstantial evidence case on identification. It's just his cell phone was at the place. He says he gave it to someone else. We just don't believe it, but they have nothing else. that placed them at the scene of the crime. So I would ask the court to not find there to be any probable cause in this particular situation. That's all.
Okay, thank you. ADA Free.
Thank you. We're asking that all of the charges be bound over. What links Mr. Monroe to the crime is the cell phone. That is how a lot of crimes are solved. When you determine if a person was there, you look at where their cell phone was. The story that Mr. Monroe provided Detective Moore, as she indicated, did not make sense. It didn't match up with the timeline. We have his car that was seen in that area from someone's Ring video, and we have the actual incident. He did match the physical descriptions, but Detective Moore even said, I mean, it was a general description. The individuals had on masks, and she is still waiting on different reports to determine if any of the things that they found at his residence, matched the things from the crime, whether it was the firearm, the ammunition. She also said that she is waiting to, I believe they still have to go through cell phone. She just learned of another Instagram account. So the investigation is still ongoing, but what we have today is his cell phone that was there at the time of the scene, at the time of the incident. We believe that is sufficient to bind all of these charges over to Superior Court.
Okay, thank you. Based upon the evidence presented to the court today, I do find sufficient probable cause to bind the case over to Superior Court. That is the order of the court today, and I want to thank both parties for their presentation of their cases.
Thank you, Judge. And may Detective Moore be excused?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May I be excused? That concludes my business as well, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you, Attorney Clemens.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Judge,